So the overview before we start the sharing of my own experiences is this. So overview is internet platforms to monetize it, to make it a way like Grab, or make it a way like eBay or Amazon. You must have a user. Usually these users are subsidized, so they don't need to pay anything because they are free for all. Then you have the producer who are complete mentors or who are contributor to the platform, and you need to make sure you have the content types. For example, just now for Grab, would be content would be service of providing transport Then you have the segment scope, which is what type of segment of customer you are looking at. So of course it can be a very wide segment like in Amazon or in Lazada or Shopee. The segment scope can be very wide, but you can be also very targeted for the example of iProperty, which is only for property buyer or properties sourcing property as a tenant, so potential tenant and potential purchaser of a property So this segment scope varies from strategically how a business would want to write on the platform. Then the last I want to attract the attention is always not forgetting about time factor. Some of these platforms needs a long time, and some of the platforms actually by their strategy actually cannibalize on other platform, and the time factor is short, so they actually replace other platform. So let us continue. Now the target for most of the platforms in the way is actually B2C so like we said just now, Grab platform is a business provider to the customer, the passenger The way that the B2B or B2C add in together is quite rare. So in a sense that I want to maybe highlight to you that what is interesting is there are some platforms that actually is B2B and B2C together. So I hope this may be possible for FindHue So B2B is business to business, a transaction or business conducted between one business and another, such as a wholesaler and a retailer. So some of these platforms can be like sourcing for the ingredients, or sourcing for the types of raw material. So they are B2B platforms, and the B2C is more similar to what we have just now given the example. Online B2C types of platform can be Lazada or can be Shopee So actually they are threat to the conventional traditional retailer So instead of you going to physically going to a grocery store, you can actually order online So it gives an example, Amazon and eBay These are the types of B2C. So FindHue try to be B2B as well as B2C So B2B here in FindHue is an agent A working with an agent B, so in a co-agency, and agent A recommending a plumber to give a service to a customer So this is actually B2B, at the same time B2C so agent direct to the customer, or plumber giving the service to the customer. So we are looking at a combination of B2B as well as a B2C business So if one outlet try to recommend another outlet for the proximity that it has, like for example a bakery's outlet recommend a tuition center which is next to it for the convenience of parents who wants to send their kids to tuition at the same time to buy bread for the next morning. So this is a B2B recommendation of business referral, and then the of course the customer who is the parents would send their kids to the tuition center as a B2C, as well as buying the bread from the bakery, which is also B2C So we are completed on the part on the background or the interaction of different parts of the platform so you can understand by now a basic understanding of what platform is and what are the interactions of the groups, customer groups inside a platform. I want to bring this topic up as a 5 key elements in building a platform. This is my own sharing. There is nothing that you can get from here that is from the internet or the public domain. This is my own personal experience. Let us begin. So number one, key elements is called the CRM. It's not customer relationship management. It's called content rich management. So the word I want to highlight is the word rich, and content is the keyword. I would use content for all the 5 elements. So you are looking at the first one, which is content rich. So what is important in a platform, to me, my own experience is that you need to be sure of what content you are showing. What is your storyline? What is the purpose of showing this content, and whether this content can be scalable. Can you scale this content? And then what is your core value of putting up this content? So for Finehui, I give an example. Finehui is an advertising outlet for community of businesses, and we have the tagline called the network of service specialists. So this means to say we are giving a content of specialist services. What are the specialist services that is available in a local regional setting? So is this content interesting to your end customers or your end users? So is there a storyline of that they are getting some value out of it? So the core value and the purpose of what Finehui is about. And is there a scalable way looking at this part of expanding the content? So if your content about getting a close by mechanic or getting a plumber from local setting, then is this scalable? Can you get more plumber? Can you get more mechanic? So this means to say, if it is something that is limiting, then this content is not attractive, because you cannot scale it higher. You cannot actually bring it up to a level for better quality or better way of doing a better job for your end users. So this is called content rich management. Second is content market segment. So again, the word is content, and market segment, the word to use is actually segment. So which type of segment you are looking at? So what is the demography of your segment? What is the behavioral trait in your segment? What are the psychographic types and the economic level as well as geographical level? So Finehui, again, I want to use Finehui to explain. Finehui is a GeoLink system. So it is a geographical regional network of close by services for people who are looking for quick solution to their issues. You want to send your kids for tuition, you cannot be driving 20-40 kilometers to send the kids to a far away tuition center. So that is example. And economics also, you are looking at whatever choices, maybe for the value you are paying for a certain amount. So this economically must be able to be affordable. So this type of situation. And demographic means we are looking at people who are able to understand IT, do IT search, doing online things. So the demography and the behavioral types of the people we are looking at is a younger group of people who can run business and use the online system. So this is the part on the segmentation, the market segment that we are looking at. And in Malaysia, this segment of people are coming up. They are growing more and more, this group of people. So of course, younger age and baby boomers who are millennials, they are coming to 20-30 years old. So they are become economically more affluent, and then they are able to use IT. Next is the element number 3, content sustainability model, CSM. So the word is sustainable or sustainability. The reason is you need the producer, complementer, or the contributor to give you content, because it is a platform, and therefore a platform should have more renewable content so that people are attracted to the platform. It cannot be platform that is putting ages of history, historical data lah. So you have to have a content that is renewable and sustainable lah. So it is possible because you have groups of people who on the front end put in data lah. So user directed data. Example, if you have a estate agent who would put in recent houses for sale, property for sale. You have maybe food critics put in information on newly opened restaurant or newly opened food eateries, and this user directed information would be looked up by the user who wants to buy house or who wants to go to try new outlets, the new restaurant or eateries. And this part is user self-sustainable. So you have more users, and the user himself or herself wants to input more data, then they become producer or they become contributor to the platform. And on the other side, the people who enjoy the food, people who are looking for service providers, they would be looking for even more, because as I have mentioned, there is cross interaction between the complementors and the producers with the mass users, the publics. And we are looking also at the other data sources in Finehui.info, because Finehui actually covers the 8 major businesses, including tourism, including sports facilities, including also medical and educational related businesses. So number 4 is actually CIE. So this part I would take a bit of time to explain. The interaction between groups as well as in their own groups is called content interaction effects. So here is actually content again, because let's say, for example, you have example of a Grab, then one driver would attract even more driver, because if you are a driver successfully using Grab, then other people also see that they can do well with the same model. So that means you attract more drivers. Similarly, the part on the selling, let's say you are able to sell your house in the platform, then you attract others to put their house listing into the platform. So this positive interaction actually would bring in more stock for the other user to see, for the other side user to see. So here means we were talking about the network effect versus the economic of size. In the user's manner, if you are more competitor, more people putting up into the platform, then you would likely see the stock become more, and therefore you have to cut down because you cut down onto the profit so that you can sell, because the competition is high. For the part of the platform, this is less imminent because the network effect of having more supplier on one side actually increases the other side, having more customer as well. So more customer can come onto the platform, because platform is not limited by physical space. It's not like you have a traditional grocery store and you have space only for 100 customers. In expand that the more customer cannot come in, and therefore you have a limitation. And now in the platform, because it is on electronic digital sense, there is no limit to the size of the store. You can have a platform that can cater for hundreds of thousands of customers. So that means having more customer coming in would also balance up the number of product that you can sell. So you have more product, you have then attract more customer. So this is network effect. So for the reason of that, I want to use this illustration. So just now we saw this illustration. Now we have added in cross-site and same-site. So just now I talked to you about the same-site effect by talking about more people who can drive, then you have more cars, and you're talking about similar more rooms to rent, then you have actually more people to come to join. So it's called the same site network effect lah, huh? So cross-site means you have more rooms to sell, you have more cars to drive, then you have cross-site to have more users to come into the platform because they know that they have ample of choice. So here I attract your attention that this about something new to a lot of people. Platform is able to overcome the traditional business model, which is limited in terms of space. So for us to move on, we want to attract attention on this argument for the content interaction effects. Same-site network effect and a cross-site network effect. So more agents mean more listing and more users who wants to see more listing. So this is cross-site positive effect. Of course, you can have a cross-site negative effect. One is, for example, you have more types of movie play into your YouTube, but then the YouTube would also want to make money, so they will have advertiser. So the advertiser become the payment profit for the YouTube. Therefore, they put in a lot more advertisement. But a lot more advertisement actually causes the YouTube crowd to watch the YouTube. They are unhappy. So it is a negative effect onto the viewer. The viewer of YouTube become disturbed because of the advertisement. So therefore, not necessarily the cross-site effect always positive effect. Sometimes the cross-site effect can be a negative effect. Then the same site effect, which is more agent and more competing listing, a lot of time actually cause a negative effect to the same site. That means if you are looking at putting a hot property for sale in the listing platform, then if there are a lot of hot property to sell, then it means to say my hot property becomes less hot, so become less hot. Therefore, I face this competition on the same site, so it is a negative issue. So it can be a positive issue for the reason that if there are more listing in the platform, then I will have actually more encouragement to put in further put in the listing, because I attract competition to have a better service. So this is a likely situation of a positive effect. But this positive effect for the same site is harder to see. Positive effect for the cross site is easier to see. The last is key element number 5, called the content time maturity. So your content actually is time factored in. So your listing is actually a time factored content. So here I mean to say, if you are looking at news platform, that means you are putting up news, then your news is actually a short time span, because all news or historical news is not interesting anymore. The part on the situation, like if you are talking about transactional news or transactional data, like for example the house being transferred or bought by someone around your neighborhood, then this transaction of house being bought, the price that is being sold, is actually an important information for the future buyer. So this transactional data is actually medium to long term, because it will provide a certain measurement to the future transaction. So this part, well, it can be 2 or 3 years even. The transactional information is a long-term information. So the more you actually keep this information, the more important this information can be used for future decision making. So for a real estate website, if you have more listing, and the listing actually are credible listing, that means the pricing has been credible, then even the transactions are not occurring, that means your listing actually you don't see transactions. So the listing provides a certain measurement of the prices along that area. So you are looking at the new house that is to be sold along that area, you can go and Google and check what was the previous asking price for the property similar in that location. So this is what I mean by transaction being a long good content. Fact is permanent. Of course, you say that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. This is a fact and it is permanent. And if you have factual types of information in your platform, then this becomes a permanent thing which will be useful for your platform. And sometimes businesses also stay longer because your agency, let's say if you put up a platform which is an agency, the agency firm is formed usually for many years. It usually wouldn't be closed down by a time of a few years. But however, if you are saying illegal broker or somebody who is in short-term business, hit and run type, then it is not able to give information for long term. Similar to products, if you have good products, then it is medium term unless the product is withdrawn. And you have events also, which is information in your content, but it is short because after the event has happened, normally it is no more an event anymore. So this, of course, are the time limited factors. So let us conclude. So if you want to do a platform, or like me, I have tried a few platforms, I realized that my experience point to these 5 points. So although there are 5, but none of them is actually ahead of another. So I put them as all in number 1. So if you have something in mind you want to do, then you need to consider these 5 elements. So 1, content which is rich. You need to have a rich content. Second, you need to know your market segment, how you are going to position your content to the types of market. Although we talk about platform being reaching out to a huge market, like example of Amazon or example of Shopee, the segment of market is huge, but of course it's not for babies, it's not for people who are elderly, who cannot use internet or who doesn't know how to use internet. Then number 3 is content sustainability, whether your thing can sustainable or not, your information, your content inside the platform is able to sustain. Then the interaction effect, so that means the network effects, whether keeping on new information or new listing will keep on coming into your platform. And number 4 is the time maturity, whether this information you are keeping, how is it affected by time. So if you are putting up your information platform on a platform for users, it is limited to a certain time frame, then it becomes the importance of that information. Thank you very much. I like to just carry on with this presentation on my platforms. I have the e-learning system. So this is not a platform, but an online system for learning, like a blog for use in exam, for preparing to sit for the board examination. I have the advertising platforms. These are advertising platforms because you are front-end user, you can advertise in my platforms, which is on the far left-hand side, contract2you.com, a comparative index, Interproperty Index, IPI, for ranking of properties. On the far right-hand side is called the Findhui.info, is a community of agents in a geo-linking of businesses. I have my videos all collected in the middle block, which is My Real Property Online. My Real Property Online can also be a platform because you can become like me, another person who do videos, and use this platform to publish your videos. Thank you for coming into my channel. I'm Thomasin PA2066. This is my mobile number on display. There are my URL websites for you to visit. Thank you for coming in.